I am joined today here straight from the horse's mouth by the lovely Hayley Crawford. And Hayley, I've got to say, the first time I met you, you must have thought, who is this mad woman accosting me in a toilet at the National Pub Watch Conference? Because I was just so excited to meet you. So sorry about that. First of all, that's not my normal way I introduce myself.
Oh, believe me, I've had worse, but yeah, it's definitely memorable.
Hayley, can you tell me where I was trying to locate you for many years to try and find out who was the lady who set up Ask for Angela? So, whereabouts were you based, and could you give us a little bit of history about how it all came around, really?
Yeah, so it was back in, I think it's 2015. I was the strategic lead for sexual violence and substance misuse for Lincolnshire. So I was based over there, and part of my responsibility was to try and bridge the gaps in services and identify any issues that we had, and just use my creativity really to just try and make places safer for people. Noticed was that people were going on a lot of online dates, and they were effectively meeting strangers. One of the most popular places that people were meeting strangers for their dates were pubs. So I wanted to create a safety net for people so that they felt that they could go, that they didn't have to tell people where they were going on their dates. There was still a bit of a stigma at the time about online dating. So there were a lot of people going on online dates, meeting people in pubs, but not telling friends and family where they were going due to that initial stigma around online dating, which I believe is mostly gone, because I think most people now meet online, thankfully. So I think people are a bit more open about when they're going on these dates. So I wanted to create a safety net, something where somebody doesn't have to tell their friends and family where they're going necessarily, but the safety net is in place within in the venues where they're actually choosing to go on their dates. I also took into account, it took me a while actually with Ask for Angela to actually work out a way of implementing something in the nighttime economy that wasn't going to cost the venues any money to implement, wasn't going to be too time consuming in terms of training, because they're high turnover of staff. They can sometimes be, 4 or 5 people deep at the bar. So if somebody wants to communicate that they need help, they're not going to be able to stand at the bar and try and relay their story to try and get that assistance. So the quick use of a word like Angela immediately communicates with the bar staff that actually there's an issue and what that issue actually looks like, and allows the bar staff to actually kick into action and help them out. So that's kind of how it all came about. And then I went out to pub watches and spoke at the pub watches. We trialled it in Spalding, we then trialled it in Lincoln, and then we just launched it across the whole county. And then after that, I was contacted by the Met Police, and I worked with them to implement it in London. And then it just grew and grew and grew. And so I worked with quite a few places, including Australia as well. We managed to get it in 1,000 bars in Sydney, and I went over there as well and spoke at a global conference. So it just grew legs, and the reason it grew legs is because it was felt that it was needed, and it was easy to implement, which is exactly what I wanted.
That is absolutely fantastic. And do you know how many other countries have taken this on now as well?
Yeah, so I know that it's in certain states in the US. I know that it's in Argentina, it's in Spain, Ireland, it's all across the UK. Obviously, Australia, I've mentioned, New Zealand. Yeah, so it's in quite a few places. It's just such an easy scheme to implement that yeah, there's almost no excuse for bars not doing it. If they want to look after their customers, they'll put it in place.
And I've had so many reports while I've been going around doing training on spiking issues when people have told me about different stories, how that your Ask for Angela scheme has helped them, and how they've taken young girls out the back of clubs and arrange for taxis and remove different men that have been upsetting other women. And it's been, hearing those sort of stories, and you must have heard a lot of them as well. How does that make you feel?
It makes me feel so. I, it makes me feel so proud that I've protected so many women. Well, not just women, men as well. I mean, I've had stories about men that have also been supported out of difficult situations. But it just makes me so proud that I've been able to help all those people through such a simple scheme that hasn't really cost the bars anything to implement. Um, I just, so sometimes I can't believe it, if I'm honest, because I'm quite a creative person. If you come to me with a problem, I can generally find a creative solution. But yeah, for it to go global just blew my mind. But it also shows that it was very much needed, and I think I'm really pleased I've been able to create something that was very needed.
That's absolutely brilliant. And, so many people, when I first heard of it, I thought, this is what I need to do. I need to try and tag on the end of Ask for Angela, because this could help, obviously in spiking issues. So that's what sent me on my quest to try and find you, because I wanted to ask permission, from you. Anyway, I contacted the police all in different areas. Somebody told me you were in Nottingham. Someone else told me that you were in Langford. And then eventually, after trying to hunt you down for all this time, I spoke to this man and he went, "Oh, no, I used to work with her. That's Hayley Crawford." And I was like, "Oh my God." And I had a name. So then, as soon as I got your name, I was looking for you to find out where you were. And then I saw that you were going to be a guest speaker at the Pub Watch National Conference. So I was in my office, like, because I wasn't going to go. And then I was like, "Get me a ticket." So as soon as I found out you were going to be there, that's why I was so excited to come and meet you, because I thought you've been like a trailblazer for me. You've made a difference. You've shown people what a difference just one statement, "Ask for Angela," and that was it. And then I thought, if Hayley Crawford can do it, then I can do it on spiking issues. So that was my ultimate plan, my ultimate goal. And I don't know if you know much about the work that we do, but we designed some anti-spiking devices like stop tops. Then we started working in America with nightcap. So they're like a scrunchie that you can put over a glass. Um, then I started working with spikies, because they're the little plastic ones you can put in top of a bottle. So we started doing all of that. And then I thought, we need education. So that's why we've come up now with like, and I think like you, Hayley, I didn't realize in the nighttime economy how busy people are. They don't have money, especially now after COVID, to pay for any sort of training. So I thought, well, what are we going to do? So now I'm going and banging on the door of the SIA, because they're another massive part of this jigsaw. We keep hearing that from men and women, "Oh, I didn't know what happened to me. I got thrown out of a nightclub. I'd wet myself. I'd been violently sick. I was going in and out of consciousness." And I'm like, "Oh my God, that is dreadful." So I'm actually speaking at their national conference in Liverpool next Wednesday. So hopefully I'll be able to disseminate some of that information. But like you, I thought, how can I get to so many people with one thing? So I thought, well, why not get a podcast going and ask the expert? So can you think of any way that we could try and really quickly, easily share all this safeguarding information on spiking issues?
Oh, so I mean, it's a really difficult one, isn't it? Because each area has different priorities, don't they? But certainly looking at seeing if you can get funding from PCCs maybe and rolling it out through. I mean, who's your target audience, I guess?
I suppose my target audience is bar staff, venue management, street pastors, taxi drivers, the key emergency services. Because still now, I'm in Devon and Cornwall, so I speak
Mm,
to some police officers. Oh, ambulance drivers, of course, they need to know
mm,
because I've spoken to, the ambulance staff from St John's Ambulance, and they've sort of said to me, "Well, Dawn, we don't know the typical signs and symptoms of somebody who's been spiked. We don't
mm,
know, an immediate call to action, how we should be safeguarding." So, and also probably like counsellors that are dealing in rape crisis groups,
mm.
because
Yeah.
all of these people have got an invested interest in what's happening when young people are out. But it's not just young people either, I have to say. This
No, no,
goes right across. Spiking has no prejudice.
no.
It happens to people of middle age, older generation for robbery. So it's, yeah, so quite a large target audience, I'm afraid.
So, I think you probably need to narrow it down first and then grow. Personally, I'd be looking in terms of funding streams. I'd be looking at PCCs potentially, and even creating an online training package because a lot of bars you will find won't have the money for it. So, and they also don't necessarily have the ability to pay for their staff to go on training. So if you need them, it might be worth creating a training package that's part of their recruitment and training their staff, their bar staff, when they come into the venues, because sometimes bar staff don't last longer than a month, so they can't keep paying for
Yeah.
their staff to keep going out to do the training, and you won't be delivering it that frequently to pick up all the bar staff that are falling off. So certainly you need different levels of it, and I would definitely go down the online route initially for bars. I think that would get the biggest buy-in. And I would use your contacts through Pub Watch as well. Contact your local pub watches across or national pub watch, and then reach out to your local ones and get the training delivered at those pub watch meetings. Again, there are quite a few pub watch meetings, so it might be that you do a virtual online training package for them. And I guess, I mean, maybe I'm oversimplifying it, but maybe that's the only way you can get the numbers in. Keep it simple and quick as possible because that they're not time
Yeah.
rich at the moment. So we have to try and work within their realm to try and get them on board and get them trained, because this is in addition to what they're doing. Whilst it's great what you're doing, and we need to be raising that awareness. We are in really difficult financial times, so we need to kind of bring the training to them and make it as easy and accessible as possible, and certainly free where possible.
Yeah, definitely. And yeah, I think you're right. Looking at the police and crime commissioners should probably be our first port of call. So when you worked with the Met Police, can you tell me how that came about, please, Hayley?
Yeah, so they contacted me when they'd seen my Ask for Angela in Lincolnshire launch, and they asked to asked me how to set it up. So we had some calls and some emails and shared some assets and resources and things with them, and actually spoke about how to launch it and roll it out and how to sell it as well, because at the time it was still very fresh. At the moment, most people know about Ask for Angela in the nighttime economy, but at that time hardly anyone knew about it. And so that's kind of how it started. I was approached and then just helped them to roll it all out.
That's brilliant. You should be so proud. I was so excited, as you could tell, to meet you. And because you've done it, you've been successful and you've got it in different countries around the world. And I was thinking, oh my God, I just want to, follow in your footsteps, really, so that I can make sure that young people, the difference that we feel, like I'm sure that you feel with Ask for Angela, is that we could be the difference between a young man or a young woman getting home safely or potentially gang raped. And it's that serious. And so, people say to me, oh my God, how do you feel? You must be saving so many people. But because we don't see it, you don't
Yeah,
feel it. And
yeah.
I think for me, it wasn't until I walked into a pub and I saw people in Cornwall, it was, using stop tops. And I saw my posters up in a pub toilet. And I was like, and then I was nearly crying because I was like, oh my God, it's working. And that makes you feel really
Yeah.
happy, doesn't it?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, but one of the things that drives me, one of the reasons why I'm a police officer is helping people and doing the right thing. And so to have something like this, and I mean, my phone constantly, I get sent messages from toilets, where my friends are like sending me pictures from pub toilets. I've had them sending them to me when they've been on holiday, or just on normal nights out when they've gone to different cities. But yeah, so my phone is full of pictures of pub toilets where Ask for
Pub
Angela's there.
toilets.
Yeah, so whenever my
And then
friends
you
go to
get
the
accosted.
toilet,
Then you
yes,
get accosted in the toilet by me.
it was
It's
it
all
was nice
appropriate.
though. Yeah, you'd allow me to come out the cubicle first, so that was good.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, at least I wasn't in taking photos in the cubicle like most of your friends.
Absolutely, yeah. So my friends, wherever they are, whatever night out they're on, they're always they're always thinking of me in the toilets.
Nice. In the toilet in the nicest possible way.
Yeah, it's
So
not what I imagined.
I've seen recently that you've got like some Ask for Angela training. What's that all about?
So locally, when we relaunched Ask for Angela, we used Safer Streets funding to commission some training on signs and safety and things like that, which included drink spiking as well. And that was delivered to bars by a local partner. I think it was Women's Aid that delivered the training. And so that was more of a local arrangement, but it wasn't specifically Ask for Angela, and it wasn't training that I'd devised.
Oh, okay. So do
Yeah.
you devise any training to go with Ask for Angela?
No, so initially, I did put some training together, but the problem, as I mentioned before, was the high turnover of staff and the ability for people to release their bar staff. So I ended up just kind of scrapping it because it wasn't working. They couldn't afford to release their staff. So it just didn't work, and it was before COVID as well, so we weren't used to doing online training and things like that. So it was a very different world then. It was all face to face, and we didn't have any delivery mechanisms that could meet the demands of the nighttime economy. So instead, we just kept it really, really simple and produced guidance, written guidance, and then had single point of contacts within each venue who were responsible for making sure that the posters were always up, that the guidance was in place, and anyone new that joined the bar knew how the scheme worked, so that if anyone
Yeah,
asked for answers, they knew what that venue's process was, because every venue's different. Every venue has different exits. Every venue has different clientele. So because of that, the venues had to make it work for them. Otherwise, they wouldn't
yeah,
implement it. So it's really important that we weren't really strict on it.
yeah, definitely. So what I'm going to do, we've actually, I'm so pleased that I asked you that question about what do you think we should do, because I've seen how successful your campaign has been. So I think doing an online version makes total sense. Um, do you think that if anybody's been spiked, that we should say to go to ask for Angela, or do you think that, because that was my initial question that I wanted to first ask you, would it be possible for us to say if somebody thought they'd been spiked, could they then go to the bar and ask for Angela? Since I had that question for you and took so long to try and find out who you were, I've sort of thought maybe it would be more beneficial for somebody to go to the bar and say, I've been spiked. You need to take care of me. So I'm not really sure how you feel about that, but I wanted to ask you the question because that was my original question I've always wanted to ask you for all those years.
Yeah, I think it's a difficult one, isn't it? Because if the bar's not busy, it's easier to go to the bar and say, I think my drink has been spiked and I need to be looked after. But if the bar's really, really busy and there's loads of noise going on, actually the quickest way to get help might be to say, is Angela there? So rather than standing there saying, I think my drink has been spiked and trying to talk
Right.
over, loads of rowdy drunk people,
Yeah, yeah.
I don't know. It's difficult, isn't it? I would hope that if somebody needed some help, that they would ask for Angela if they didn't know, and if not, they would. And if the bar wasn't busy and they could talk, they would explain what the situation was.
Yeah, definitely. Can I ask for your permission that are we allowed to say to people, ask for Angela if you think you've been spiked and you're in a really busy environment where you don't think people could hear you?
Absolutely. Yep. Absolutely. It makes sense. It makes
Thank
sense
you.
to leave it all in.
Yeah, we thought it made sense. So we were like, right, okay, but we just wanted to ask your permission as well, just to make sure. And Hayley, you are one of my like secret heroes. Well, not secret because I tell everybody. And by class, you like the street pastors. Like you've done like a fourth emergency service in our eyes. So thank you ever so
Oh,
much.
thank you. And thank you for everything that you're doing as well, because, it's brilliant. We needed something like that.
Yeah, well, we hope we'll be. So whereabouts are you stationed now, Hayley?
So I'm up in Bassetlaw, so I tend to be based from Retford or Worksop, but every so often I do cover the county in Nottinghamshire.
Okay, well, we will hopefully be up that way. So, if we are, I will give you a shout and hopefully you could come along to one of our training sessions and we can show you everything that we do on spiking issues. And we always talk about Ask for Angela. I just wanted you to know that whenever I do a training session, we show one of your posters and we always talk about the work that you've done to help safeguard people as well.
Oh, thank you so much, Dawn. Are you going to give me a big head? You're too kind, but thank
Oh,
you.
well, it's true. It's true. It's brilliant work. And thanks for, I know that you're a really busy lady. So thanks ever so much for coming on. And I can see that we've had some little bits where we've frozen a little bit. So I hope that this all comes out all right. It might be a bit shorter than normal because we might have to edit a bit of it. But thank you ever so much, Hayley.
No problem. Look after yourself, Dawn, and take care.